Yeah, so we had a question about how do we optimize our outcomes, or how can patients optimize their surgical outcomes? And that question actually inherently makes a good point that the best surgical outcome, it's, what happens in the OR and then what the patient does afterwards. I know a lot of you are reading on forums, online, you have friends that have had surgeries and they're recommending foams, different abdominal boards, different fajas, BBL pillows, different regimens. And I say, if you want to optimize your result, just listen to your surgeon. We're gonna give you the foams that we think are best. We're gonna give you the garments that we think are best. People don't realize too little compression isn't great, but too much can also have adverse effects on healing, and we want to be able to normalize as much of that stuff as possible so that you get the best results. So listen to the recommendation of your surgeon. Don't get too excited and buy too many things. We'll supply you, and this should be a fun process. For my patients at least, we always recommend that after any procedure, whether it's liposuction, tummy tuck, or BBL, we want you to stick around 1 week before going home. In that week, we're going to see you the next day post-op. We're going to be able to evaluate how things are going with pain management, with the massages. We want to make sure that you are as close to being back to your normal self before you go home, so that we know everything's going to be okay. Yes, my name has been in the tabloid media and understandably sensationalized given the circumstances. I want to clarify certain facts that have not been reported and are public knowledge. Please understand that due to patient privacy laws and out of respect for all my patients, there will never be mention of specifics now or in the future of any of my cases. As many of you know firsthand, my reputation in Miami for safety is exemplary. I am not willing to operate without exception on any patient if my preoperative protocols for medical clearance are not wholly met. That means another physician of the patient's choosing examines the patient and verifies that patient's fitness for surgery in conjunction with other tests and labs that I request. This is a standard protocol to ensure all aspects of a patient's health are medically considered. Since graduating from my plastic surgery residency at Brown University, I have operated on 2,000 patients, which is roughly 6,000 hours in the operating room. Every procedure is always performed to the highest medical standard, and our safety protocols are diligently observed by my entire team. The state of Florida is especially strict when it comes to any issues involving medical treatment that may not have been performed to recognized standards, resulting in a poor patient outcome. This certainly applies to procedures like those I specialize in. This oversight results in immediate suspension of the provider's ability to perform the operation of concern.
Yo, I welcome you guys back on here. If you're new, consider subscribing, liking, and also share this video. So in the latest gasp we are having in this exact moment in time, DC Young Fly's partner Miss Jacky Oh, who passed on as a result of complications from cosmetic surgery, complaining that her head was burning just hours before she passed on. Now the latest gasp indicate that according to the autopsy that actually was held just a few days ago and was accessed by a couple of media personnel, TMZ, Page 6 and others, they say that she flew from Miami in May to undergo a procedure where she had a liposuction and a fat that was to be transferred to her butt, that is also known as a BBL. So the surgery was completed on May 30th, and of course Jacky was prescribed an antibiotic known as Cliprofloxacin, and of course Oxycodone, a painkiller that actually relieves pain, and also another one known as Ondansetron, which is an anti-nausea. Shortly after, the 32-year-old began feeling headache, returning to the surgeon, of course, for a post-operative appointment, but things turned south, and then she decided to get a massage to alleviate her pain, and she was advised to take ibuprofen as part of what was actually to help her relieve the pain. So on the night of the 31st May, she began to feel that her head was burning, and of course she began feeling having difficulty in speaking. But then she was then actually told to call 911. Then her auntie, whom she was with, called 911. The paramedics arrived immediately, but unfortunately she was found unresponsive and passed on at around 11 p.m. that same day. So that was the whole incident, and the autopsy actually showed that after the post-surgery, she had a brain damage. The brain was bleeding. She had also bleeding around the torso, which was really very devastating. We saw this young fly coming out, also paid tributes. Remember, during her funeral and the funeral and memorial service of Miss Jacky Oh, he really gave an emotional speech, which was really touching, and it touched the hearts of so many people. But on top of all, he gave everything to guards. So in this moment in time, we are continuing to pray to this young fly and his young family, because we all know up to now they must be going through a very tough time. Rest in power the Queen, Miss Jacky Oh.